Hey guys, Curt from Conquer Kingdoms here. I'm gonna do another stuff video. This will be episode 4 of Curt's stuff. This is some more new stuff that I got. I've actually been buying quite a bit of stuff. I think I just had a lot of fun with my last new stuff video, and I think I've been like just subconsciously like, you know what, I think I really need this. So I have just a little, pile of stuff. I'll talk about each one a little bit. First off, I have this video game, Mace: The Dark Age. This is for Nintendo 64. I'd never even heard of this game, and I saw it the other day. I was at a used game place, and a lot of times, if you ever buy old N64 games, you'll go and, the clerk will be like, "Oh, what can I help you find?" And you're just like, "Do you have any old video games?" And they're like, "Oh, do you play N64?" And you're like, "Yeah, I do. What do you have?" And they're like, "Oh, we have 60,000 Nintendo 64 games. You would love to check it out." And then you're like, "Yeah, I would." So you're like looking through them, and then you're just like, "Oh, it's 58,000 copies of Madden 99." And that's how it always goes. And then you're like, "Is this all you have? It's just a billion copies of Madden 99?" And like, "Oh, no. We have 2,000 copies of, like, Bass Fisher and I don't even know, like old wrestling games. Those are fun, right?" No, they're not, and I don't want these. That's why there's a billion copies of them here, because nobody ever wants them. But anyway, so I was looking through games, and I saw this, and I had never even heard of it, and it was $7, so I just grabbed it, figured I'd check it out. It was made by Midway, so I was like, this is gonna be pretty good. Midway made it, come on. And I thought, I don't know, I had no reason to think this, I guess based just on the cover. I thought it was going to be like an action adventure, like Baldur's Gate over the top of the character game, like the Lord of the Rings games or whatever. And it wasn't, it was funny because I bought it because it was made by Midway. And then I turned it on, and it was just a fighting game. I'm like, I don't know what I expected. Of course it's a fighting game. Midway made it. I'm not a huge fan of fighting games. I like Mortal Kombat and Super Smash Brothers, and other than that, you'll probably never catch me playing a fighting game. I tried Injustice, but it was whatever. So I played it long enough to get a game over, and then I decided not to play it anymore, and I'll probably never play it again. But whatever. Next, that's actually the only game that I have. I haven't been playing a lot because I just work all the time, and I've been playing Pokemon X and Metroid Prime, so it's really taken up all my... I haven't felt the need to buy any games because I don't even have the time to play the games that I just bought. But anyway, next I have some CDs. I have Mob Rules by Black Sabbath. Black Sabbath is one of my favorite bands. I like them with Ozzy and Dio. This is one with Dio, and it was $5, and I was like, whoa, yes, absolutely, give it to me, because it's just a great CD. I didn't own it, but I knew it was good. I haven't listened to much Dio Sabbath lately, so picked it up, really good. Don't know what to say about it. Next, I bought Highway to Hell by AC/DC. AC/DC is quite possibly my favorite band of all time. And I think this is one of their very best albums. AC/DC CDs were one of the very first things that I started collecting, and throughout my life I've owned every AC/DC CD like 2 or 3 times. I just never took care of them, and I'd break them or lose them or whatever. So this is probably Highway to Hell was actually one of either the first or second album I ever owned. So, but this is probably like the 4th copy of it that I've bought. But really good. I mean, it sounds like AC/DC, but it's one of the best examples of AC/DC sounding like AC/DC. I think Highway to Hell is the pinnacle of the Bon Scott era AC/DC. Next is Tape Deck Heart by Frank Turner. I typically don't listen to like alternative acoustic rock stuff, but they play this guy at work on the radio, and he has like one single that I really liked a lot, so I saw it and it was $10, and I was like, sure, I'll buy it just because I really like that song. And I actually really liked the CD. It was kind of like, I don't know if you ever noticed, like, when CDs or, like, the tracks aren't put on in the best order, like, all the really good songs are clumped up, and then at the end it's just, like, a bunch of, I don't want to say filler, but the songs aren't as good towards the end of the album. So, I mean, the songs that I do like, I like a lot, but the rest of them are just like, yeah, whatever, I'll probably never listen to those songs again. I didn't actually buy this. I found it in our basement. I have no idea where it came from. But A Brief History of Time by Stephen Hawking. It's a book on tape. I found it. I've been listening to it in my car. There's 4 tapes. I'm on the 4th tape. It's good. I like space. I like talking about time and theoretical time travel, and it's good. Space is cool. Space is scary. If you're a dummy like me, some of this stuff goes way over your head, but the stuff that I do, really understand, just blows my mind, so I like to listen to it / read it. Next is some DVDs. I bought the remake of Friday the 13th. Really good. If you like horror movies, this is probably, I was going to say it was the best remake of the slasher genre, but Rob Zombie's Halloween is probably my favorite. But this is still really good. If you like the old ones, it kind of combines the first 2 or 3, and it's really good. It's just, they amp it up, and Jason's just, he's fast, and he's just cooler and tougher. So, it's really good. It was like $4 at Walmart, so why not? Halloween, buy it. This movie, Midnight Express, I just bought on DVD, and when I was a kid, we didn't have cable, but we had like a towel rack that had like 30 VHS tapes on it, so I just watched VHS tapes all the time, and this was one of the movies we had, but my parents would never let me watch it, and so every once in a while I'd ask them again, hey, can I watch this? And they'd say, oh no, you're not old enough to watch that. So I was like really like spiteful about it, and I was like, when I grow up, I'm gonna watch that movie. And I never forgot that. I couldn't remember what the name was, but I remember what the cover looked like just because I'd look at it so much and like wonder, what movie it was. So I did some research online, found out what the movie was, bought it, watched it, and it was really messed up. I'm really glad my parents didn't let me watch it when I was 8 years old. I probably would have been pretty traumatized by it, but as an adult, it's pretty sweet. Prison movies are always sweet. It was good. I feel happy that I was managed to track it down and watch it after all these years. Ice Age. Literally no idea why I own this. I found it. It was when I found the Stephen Hawking thing. It was like in a drawer downstairs. I don't know where it came from or why we own it, but I figured I'd put it on my shelf in case I ever feel like watching it instead of leaving it in a shelf downstairs. Here we are. We have a good movie, actually. The Conjuring. I went to see this in theaters this past summer, and I thought it was super scary. Like, movies don't really scare me very often, especially ghost movies, because I think ghosts are stupid, but this was really good. I mean, it's not really ghosts, it's kind of possession, satanic stuff, but it was really good. It's one of, as far as horror movies go, one of the scariest movies I think I've ever seen. It was only $15 brand new as well, so I would definitely recommend buying this. I would put this up with like The Exorcist, like very scary to me. Definitely a really good movie. The price is right. With Halloween like right around the corner, go pick it up and watch a scary movie with your buds. Here we just have some various kinds of books. I bought Mother, the Frank Zappa story. This was just at a music store, and it was only 50 cents. I haven't even read it yet, but I love Frank Zappa. I think he's just crazy and awesome, and Apostrophe and Overnight Sensation are 2 of my favorite albums by him. He's just crazy. Like, the music he writes is so weird and strange and funny, and it's really good, and he's so talented. And, like, he has all this trippy music and weird psychedelic stuff, and everyone, a lot of people say, like, yeah, I don't know about all that acid rock and drug stuff, and Frank Zappa never did drugs. He was just crazy and weird, and that's awesome to me. Like, to have those just crazy thoughts and ideas bouncing around in your head without the aid of any like psychedelics. Very talented, very smart man. If you ever watch interviews with him or read his quotes, just a very good musician and performer. So I'm probably going to read this, but it definitely inspired me to listen to some Frank Zappa recently. Next, I have some comic books. In the last video, I said I bought the volume 1 of the Green Lantern New 52. This is volume 2 of the Green Lantern New 52, and it's really, really good. I just sat down and read the whole thing yesterday. Like I said before, I never was a huge Green Lantern fan. I didn't know much about it, but the more I learned and about each color lantern and what each one stands for and how they interact with each other, it's really good. I really want to get volume 3, but I don't even know if it's out yet. I have to check, but very good. One of my favorite New 52 lines. You should definitely read it. Not this past week, but the week before, I went to buy that Green Lantern issue, and they didn't have it where I was, so I bought the volume 1 of the New 52 Batman, The Court of Owls. I hadn't read much New 52 Batman, well, any at all, because the best New 52 stuff to me was like stuff that sucked before. I really liked the Batgirl and like Aquaman. I've always liked Aquaman, but like they just weren't great, and the remakes were like phenomenal. Like they're up there, but I always knew Batman was good, so I wasn't in a hurry to read the New 52 stuff because I was just like, I already know Batman's good. I can read good Batman. But it was even way better than I expected. It was, I was talking about it with Mike from Conquer Kingdoms, and because he's read it too, and he said he knew that they obviously weren't gonna kill Batman in the first 7 issues of the New 52 series, but this gets so dark and dismal that you're like, Batman's gonna die. Like, it's just very well written, and usually in anything with a hero, the hero is not gonna die, but it's always good when you have no idea how he's going to make it. Like, it's like the worst thing ever when you're watching and there's like they get to the climax and you're like, oh, he's just gonna do this and get away. Like, there's no suspense there. But this is so well written and the art is great, and you really, you honestly don't know because it's so well written. You're just like, I think Batman's gonna die, and what are they gonna do after that? So I definitely recommend it. That is also one of my favorite New 52 lines. Following that, I haven't finished this yet, but I bought the volume 2, The City of Owls of Batman New 52, and I'm just in the beginning of it, and it's good. It's really good. I'm sure it's going to get even better. I know volume 3 I think comes out next month, the Death of the Family ones, and I'm really looking forward to reading those because I was reading them a little bit issue by issue when they were coming out, but with all the crossovers and stuff, but I'm really excited to see how that all ended because I just stopped buying issue to issue. Here I have, this was $1. They were like a celebratory thing. It was just kind of, I don't even know what you'd call it. It was just a first issue of Ninja Turtles. I love Ninja Turtles. This is kind of a darker Ninja Turtles, which I like too. I like the kiddier versions, but this is kind of cool, like Raph is like, instead of just being sarcastic, he's really just negative, and like Casey Jones is a teenager with an alcoholic, abusive father. So just, much more adult themes in some of the comics than in any of the cartoons that you watch, and I like that a lot. I like all aspects of Ninja Turtles, so I'm definitely going to try to find more issues of this because I just like that. It was really good. Finally, this is funny. I bought Metroid Prime. I talked about that in my last video, and that was just that game was hard. Like, you walk around, it's like open world, so you have to keep going back to previous levels and stuff, and so it's just confusing and hard. I realized why I couldn't beat it when I was younger, and so I knew I needed a guide because I'm just not that good at it, and I wanted to try to track down the player's guide instead of just using an online guide because I knew it was just a game where maps would be really helpful. So I was going to buy it online, but I went to Bull Moose, and this is one of the reasons that I love Bull Moose. I went there and I was like, I'm gonna go look at players' guides. There's no way they're gonna have a GameCube player's guide from 2002. But I went, and sure enough, there it was. It was only like $3. You know, I was just so shocked. I was like, yeah, I bought it. And it's been really helpful. It's helping me get past the points where I'm stuck. And what I like the most, actually, is that there's also a Metroid Fusion for the Game Boy Advance player's guide connected to this, too. If you didn't play the GameCube, there was a time when the GameCube and the Game Boy Advance SP came out. They had a connector cable. And there were certain games, Animal Crossing, Wind Waker, Metroid Prime, where you could connect the two, and if you had both components of the game, you could do it with a Harvest Moon game too. A Wonderful Life had connectivity bonuses with Friends of Mineral Town, and it was just kind of cool. It was just a marketing thing, a way to get them to make you buy both games. But it was cool because it really added a little bit to every game, and some of the connectivity bonuses were cooler, like the Wind Waker ones were kind of useless. The Animal Crossing ones were awesome. I don't know. I'm gonna try to find Metroid Fusion because I'm gonna play it and beat it and see what the connectivity bonuses are. One thing that I really like about this guide, and another reason I'm glad I bought it, is because of the art that's in it. Really, because now when you play a handheld, the graphics are so good that it doesn't have to leave much to the imagination because they're so good at conveying what they want you to see. That, you know, they don't need to have really nice art to, you know, show you what they were thinking. The Game Boy Advance was one of the last systems that really had those, you know, Super Nintendo-y kind of lacking in some ways graphics. So when you buy older players' guides, you know, I don't know if you'll be able to see any of these, but there's just really cool art. I don't know if you'll be able to see that, but they just have really good art in them that, the game designers, what they had in their mind, and they wanted you to see it, and the graphics for the game just weren't quite there yet. So it's really cool to just be able to look at the really nice art in these books, and it just makes the gaming experience so much better. It makes the guide better to look at. It makes it more interesting. It makes the game, you feel like you're more in the game because you have a better view of, what you're looking at. So I'm just really glad. I love Bull Moose. If you've ever been to one, that's awesome. If you haven't, you should. They're only in Maine, but you should really check them out because they just have everything. Everything is very cheap. They're just a great store. It's the only place where you can go really to find like underground metal if you're into that, or they have comic books and movies and music and video games and books, and it's just really an awesome store. And a lot of the stuff that I buy, like look, 2 weeks ago I did a video with like 15 things, and this week I did 15, and I didn't really spend much money on any of this. I bought most of it at Bull Moose, and they're very reasonably priced. They have used things, they have a point system. It's great. So that's just a collector tip, I guess. Bull Moose is awesome for collecting stuff. That's all the new stuff I have right now. Hope you enjoyed it. If you go and buy some of this stuff, it's really awesome. If you have any questions or comments or whatever, just leave them on the video. I'll get back to you as soon as I can. And thanks for checking it out.